Hook. In a Manila slum where dreams are buried under corrugated roofs, a 22-year-old janitor named Arnel Pineda grabbed a rusty mic and sang Elvis like the king himself had risen from the grave. Then the clip exploded across America and landed in front of Simon Cowell, who froze mid-sentence, jaw on the floor, whispering, "Who the hell is that?" Smash subscribe now to discover how one impossible voice turned poverty into legend. The year was 2007, and the air in Tondo carried diesel fumes and the faint smell of fish drying on bamboo poles. Arnel Pineda wiped the sweat from his brow with the sleeve of a faded Journey t-shirt he had found in a thrift bin. At night he mopped the lobby of a budget hotel for $2 a shift. By day he hunted for open mic bars that would let him sing for tips. His mother had died when he was 13, his father soon after, and the streets had raised him on a diet of hunger and karaoke. Elvis Presley was the only father figure he ever knew, those velvet vocals crackling from a neighbor's battered radio, teaching a skinny kid how to dream in 3-minute bursts. One humid Thursday, a tourist from California named Brian left his camcorder running while Arnel covered "Love Me Tender" in a bar called the Blue Note. The clip was shaky, the lighting terrible, the crowd half drunk, but Arnel's voice cut through the smoke like a lighthouse beam. Brian uploaded the video to a brand new site called YouTube with the title, "Filipino Elvis Will Blow Your Mind." Within weeks it had 1 million views, mostly from Americans who kept typing the same comment, "This guy needs to be on a real stage." Across the Pacific, in a glass-walled office in Los Angeles, Journey guitarist Neil Schon was nursing a whiskey and a broken heart. The band had lost its iconic lead singer Steve Perry 2 decades earlier, and every replacement had flopped. Neil scrolled through fan videos at 2 a.m., desperate for a miracle. He clicked on the Manila clip and felt the hair on his arms rise. The stranger in the pixelated frame wasn't imitating Journey, he was resurrecting it. Neil replayed the video 6 times, then emailed the link to the entire band with one line, "Gentlemen, I think we just found our guy." Back in Manila, Arnel was asleep on a foam mattress when his Nokia buzzed so hard it fell off the crate he used as a nightstand. The message was from an unknown California number. "Arnel, this is Neil Schon. Can you talk?" He stared at the screen until the letters blurred. He thought it was a prank, maybe one of the hotel bellboys messing with him. He ignored it. The same message arrived the next day, and the next. On the 4th morning he borrowed a friend's laptop and Googled the name. Journey's Wikipedia page loaded slowly on the sluggish connection, and there was Neil's face, same long hair, same intense eyes. Arnel's knees buckled. He called the number from a payphone outside a 7-Eleven. Neil picked up on the first ring. "Kid, can you sing, Don't Stop Believin'?" Arnel laughed nervously. "I know every word, sir." Neil told him to record it and send the file. Arnel spent his last 200 pesos on studio time in a basement booth that smelled of mildew and instant noodles. He sang until his throat bled, then emailed the MP3 at dawn. 3 days later an envelope arrived at the hotel front desk. Inside was a plane ticket to Los Angeles, a visa, and a note, "Audition is tomorrow. Bring your voice." Arnel had never left Luzon Island. He pawned his mother's old wedding ring for pocket money and boarded the plane clutching a plastic bag with one change of clothes and a cracked Elvis CD. Los Angeles assaulted his senses, wide freeways, palm trees taller than any building in Manila, air that smelled of oranges instead of garbage. A driver took him straight to a rehearsal studio in Burbank. Journey was already on stage, instruments gleaming under spotlights. Neil greeted him with a bear hug that lifted Arnel off the ground. "Let's see what you've got, little brother." They started with "Separate Ways." Arnel closed his eyes and let the music possess him. When he hit the high note in the bridge, drummer Dean Castronovo dropped a stick. Keyboardist Jonathan Cain forgot to come in on the next measure. Neil just stared, guitar hanging loose at his side. After the final chord, silence swallowed the room. Then Neil whispered, "Welcome to the band." But the fairy tale cracked the moment the press got wind of it. Blogs exploded with accusations. Journey had hired a karaoke singer, a nobody from the third world, a cheap Perry knockoff. American fans started petitions to save Journey's legacy. Arnel read the comments on a library computer and felt the old street fear crawl back into his gut. He considered flying home, disappearing into Tondo where at least the insults were in Tagalog and came with a smile. Neil sensed the spiral. He sat Arnel down in the tour bus and played him old bootlegs of Journey's early days, raw, messy, full of mistakes. "We were never perfect," Neil said. "We were just loud and honest. That's all I'm asking from you." Arnel nodded, but doubt clung to him like humidity. The first live test was a private showcase for radio executives in a Hollywood ballroom. Arnel wore a borrowed leather jacket 2 sizes too big. Halfway through, "Wheel in the Sky," the sound system shorted out. Feedback screamed. The crowd groaned. Arnel kept singing a cappella, voice soaring over the chaos, pure and fearless. When the power returned, the executives gave a standing ovation. One DJ wiped his eyes and muttered, "That kid just saved rock and roll." Still, the ultimate judgment waited across the Atlantic. Simon Cowell, riding high on American Idol fame, had agreed to film a one-hour special called Rock Resurrections. The producers wanted Journey's new singer as the finale. Arnel flew to London economy class, knees jammed against the seat in front, rehearsing scales in his head. He had never met Cowell, only seen the clips where the Brit shredded dreams with a raised eyebrow. The O2 Arena backstage smelled of hairspray and nerves. Arnel peeked through the curtain at 20,000 Brits waving glow sticks. His bandmates slapped his back. "Just be you," Neil said. Arnel stepped into the spotlight wearing the same thrift store Journey shirt from Manila, now washed 100 times but still carrying the faint scent of home. Cowell sat front row center, arms crossed, face carved from granite. The band launched into Faithfully. Arnel's voice cracked on the first line, pure terror. He recovered on the second verse, climbing into the stratosphere where only Perry used to live. By the chorus, phones were up, recording. Cowell's eyebrow stayed frozen, but his foot started tapping, betraying him. They transitioned into Elvis for the twist the producers demanded. Arnel grabbed a wireless mic and prowled the stage like a panther, hips rolling, sweat flying. "Well, it's one for the money," the British crowd, notorious for stiff upper lips, erupted. Cowell's mouth actually opened. When Arnel hit the final, blue suede shoes, note and held it until the rafters shook, Cowell stood, slowly, reluctantly, then with both fists in the air. The camera zoomed on his face, eyes wide, cheeks flushed, the man who never clapped actually applauding like a teenager. Backstage, Cowell cornered Arnel. "I came here to be polite," he said, voice softer than the TV ever showed. "You just made me believe in miracles again." He pulled out his phone and called a contact on speaker. "Get this kid on every late-night show in America. Now." The tour that followed was a fever dream. Sold-out arenas from Seattle to Miami, fans holding signs that read, "Arnel saved my faith in music." But success brought new shadows. Paparazzi dug into Arnel's past: homelessness, a teenage arrest for stealing bread, a girlfriend back home pregnant with his child. Tabloids splashed, from slums to superstar, but can he stay clean? Across front pages, Arnel spiraled into sleepless nights, haunted by imposter syndrome. One dawn in Chicago he almost boarded a flight back to Manila. Neil found him at the airport curb. "You think Elvis never wanted to quit?" he asked. "You think Perry never cried in a hotel bathroom? Pain is the tuition, brother. Pay it and keep singing." Arnel wiped his face, turned around, and walked back to the tour bus. The climax came at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction. Journey was finally being honored, and the old guard, Perry included, sat in the audience. Rumors swirled that Steve would reclaim the mic for one song. Arnel felt the weight of history on his narrow shoulders. Backstage, Perry approached him, eyes kind but wary. "Heard you're doing right by my songs," Perry said. "Don't be nervous. Just don't stop believin'." He handed Arnel a vintage scarf, silk, monogrammed SP, and walked away. On stage, Arnel tied the scarf around his wrist like a talisman. The band played the opening chords of the anthem. 20,000 voices sang the first verse before Arnel even opened his mouth. When his turn came, he didn't imitate Perry, he honored him, adding Filipino soul, a hint of Manila street grit. Perry stood, arms raised, singing harmony from the front row. Cameras caught tears on both their faces. The scarf fluttered like a white flag of reconciliation. Years later, Arnel built a music school in Tondo with concrete walls and real windows. Street kids who once begged for rice now learn guitar under posters of Elvis and Journey. He still tours, still hears the roar, but every night before the encore he steps off stage, kneels, and whispers thanks to the radio that raised him. And somewhere in a London editing suite, Simon Cowell keeps a private file labeled, Manila Miracle. He plays it when cynicism creeps in, just to remember the night a slum kid from nowhere reminded the world that voices can still shatter ceilings. So tell me in the comments, from New York to California, Texas to Alaska, where are you watching this rags to rock legend story unfold? Drop your city, drop your state, and let's prove Arnel's voice reached every corner of this great country.